you'd like them to sleep through the night by 6 weeks, stay tuned. Hi everyone, my name is Phoebe, and today I'm just going to talk about how you can create a routine for your baby and help them sleep basically. So I'll get straight to the point. When I had Olivia-Grace, I had a schedule, a routine for her, and now that I had Elijah, I had a little bit more information about that. So I read a few books that helped me or gave me information that I needed. I didn't take everything from those books. So the first thing that I do when I have my babies, the first few weeks when you have your babies, you have so much adrenaline, you can do anything and you feel so much energy, but it wears off after some time. The tiredness gets to you, so you wake up, you're demand feeding, you're doing all those things. When baby cries, you jump out of your bed and you pick them up, especially if it's your first child. But I found that having a routine or a schedule helps me a lot look after my family more effectively, because I get to have time and the baby is more predictable. I know that not everybody likes to have a schedule or a routine. Elijah started sleeping through the night at 6 weeks, and I am blessed, and it's such a blessing that he can sleep. And I followed these tips, and this is what helped me. Tip number 1 is, in the first 2 weeks when you first have your baby, write down their awake times and their sleep times, their feeding times. Just collecting this data, even if you're not following a strict schedule, will help you when you actually want to create a routine. You have a starting point. So when you look at the information that you've collected, you find that your baby sleeps at a certain time. Maybe they sleep at 10 o'clock. You find, oh, they sleep at 10:50. This time they slept at 10:15, 10 o'clock, 10:05. So it seems like 10 is a point you can, a time you can choose for your baby when you're creating that routine, that when they'll fall asleep. Instead of working against the natural routine, you're working with it. Okay, so it will be a smooth transition. So tip number 2 is knowing that feed times and sleep times are connected. So if you're demand feeding your baby during the day, they will expect to be demand fed at night. So they'll keep waking up expecting you to feed them. So when you first have your baby, their midwife is going to tell you, oh, you feed every 3 hours. However, if your baby is underweight, they haven't yet reached their birth weight, the midwife can even tell you, wake them up to feed them, so that they don't go for long periods of time without eating. So if your baby has reached that birth weight, you can let them sleep longer, but do whatever your midwife or your doctor has told you. This is just what worked for me. So Elijah was able to sleep at 6 weeks because of all these things that 6 weeks through the night, because of all these things that I'm telling you guys.
We love you. We love you. Sleepy time now.
So I made sure that my baby was fed every 3 hours, so she was able to go longer without feeding. And one of the things, even if he's crying or anything like that, naturally want to feed them, but sometimes you can hold them off if they're really hungry, or I know it sounds really bad, but it helps, because when they do drink, they'll be efficient in their feeding, they'll make sure that they have enough and then go longer without it, which helps them sleep better and eventually sleep through the night. So one thing that can help you hold them off is a pacifier. I know Elijah and Olivia-Grace both didn't like it, but with Elijah I've been persistent, and it sort of helps when he's crying, and I know that his feed time is coming up soon. I just give it to him and it holds him off. Tip number 3 is that make sure that the baby wakes up at the same time every day and goes back to sleep at the same time every evening. So for Elijah, he wakes up at 7 and goes to bed at 7. So even if you don't want a strict routine, just having an awake time, a consistent awake time and a sleep time is so helpful, because at least it helps you plan for your day as well. Because if you don't have that, then every day is so random, and you can't look after your family well, especially if you have a toddler as well. You have to put them into account. So usually when Elijah is sleeping, I can spend more time with my little girl and we can do other things, and it helps a lot. So just having that is good as as well, instead of waking up randomly. And then tip number 4 is always put your baby to sleep when they are awake or a little bit drowsy. Don't let them fall asleep while breastfeeding and then take them to sleep, because they'll get used to that. They'll never learn how to take themselves to sleep. They'll always expect you to either breastfeed them or rock them or bounce them, whatever you do to take them to sleep. So make sure, this is very, very important, because it's nice when they're newborns, they'll fall asleep, you put them in. Eventually though, it will be very difficult for you. And sleep training, to be honest, is very difficult. It's stressful even on your emotions. You don't like to see your babies cry and all that. You just want to comfort them and be there for them. But eventually it's good for both you and the baby, because the baby can sleep anywhere and everywhere. Because the routine is so predictable, you can do more things, be more productive, be there for the baby when you're playing joyfully. It's not, you're not always like half asleep because you haven't slept all night. It will wake out and it pays off eventually. Tip number 4 is you need to know your baby's crying. Just because a book you've read says you should let your baby cry out for 45 minutes or 20 minutes, I don't know, then when your baby is crying, you're like, yep, it's not 20 minutes. No. You need to learn the cries. Babies usually cry when they're hungry, when they are sleepy, when they're uncomfortable, and maybe they're teething. They could be sick. You never know. There are a number of reasons baby might be crying. So learn these cries. When a baby is in distress, you should learn their emotional cry. It's important to go and comfort them, to make sure that they're not sick, they're alright. And if they're teething, there'll be periods of time that they need more attention than others. So you go and attend to them. And because you've learned the cries, you know when they're having a cry of protest. And then you know that, they'll just cry for a little bit and they'll go back to sleep. So it gives you more information. And the more information you have, the better you can, the better the decisions that you make, I guess. Number 6 is know that babies have a 45-minute sleep cycle. So because they have a 45-minute sleep cycle, they'll wake up after 45 minutes. But typically a baby naps, from a newborn baby to, I don't know if it's 6 or 7 months or 8 months, they nap from about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. The nap lasts that long. So if your baby is crying after 45 minutes, you give them another 5 minutes, they might take themselves back to sleep. Okay, I'm trying to say. I hope that you found that useful. So those are a few tips. So just knowing those things. And I made this video as well as a reminder for myself, because it had been 4 years before I had another child, and it was like I had to remember again. But having done this video, I can look back and think on it. And if you like my videos, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you didn't see my latest video on how to wear your baby and how to wear your baby in a Mobira, I'll leave a link right here. Please go and watch it. And if you'd like me to do more videos, please, I'd like video suggestions, what you want me to talk about, or what you want me to do. I think the next video I'm going to do is going to be on Elijah's minimal wardrobe. Those videos are quite fun, and I'm going to do like a little try on or something. So I hope you watch that video, and I hope you look forward to it. But video suggestions, please. And I want to just thank you. Shamim, one of my friends, is always suggesting videos I should do. Thank you so much for your suggestions. Safira is very encouraging. She likes my videos, and big shout out to you, Safira. If you'd like me to shout out, if you please comment, then I'll leave you a shout out. Okay. Thank you.
Sleep time, little cuckoo, little cuckoo.